I was amazed at that picture. So the picture of Nigella Lawson and
Gillian McKeith.
Yeah. And it said one of them watches what she eats and doesn't eat crap and exercises and all of that, and the other one eats what she likes and she drinks loads of wine. Which would you rather look like?
Absolutely Nigella, please. I'd want to be her anyway.
She's just gorgeous.
Yeah,
she's really beautiful.
Yeah,
she's
very
really beautiful.
interesting as well. Her dad was some big politician in the UK. Yeah.
He was Nigel Lawson. He was he Home Secretary or something? He had a big position in England. Yeah. I think she had a difficult childhood.
Yes.
And then she had. It's funny, you know, because you often think that, you know, somebody's life will show in their face. She had a very difficult marriage as well. She had, you know, very traumatic times, and yet she's this.
And one of her husbands died or something like that as well.
That I didn't know. That I didn't know. See, you know so much now.
Yeah. Well, another one to listen to is Desert Island Discs, the Nigella Lawson episode.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. You'd love it.
But you probably love her as well because she's an amazing chef, isn't she? Cook.
Yeah.
And
I can't went to her book signing.
I'm trying to think of all there are so many things now that you do and that you're known for. Social influencer, you're an entrepreneur, you're a TV presenter. I want to talk about that in a second. But in terms of the cookery, for instance, Carabini is your business. Tell us about that.
Yeah, are we on now?
I think we are.
Oh, cool. Carabini is a company that was set up by me and my boyfriend William. The two of us set it up because we both absolutely adore cooking. He went to Ballymaloe Cookery School. This is about 5 years ago at this stage. Went to Ballymaloe and I was working for Kerrygold Butter at the time. So we were both fell into this food world at the same time and we didn't want to leave it. So we decided we would set up a cafe, but then we were like, oh, we don't really have enough money to set up a cafe. So we decided we'd start selling at farmers markets, we do private catering gigs and just try and get the money or the word out there.
That it's good quality food, it's fabulous food.
Yeah. And the great thing about, if anyone is listening and is interested in getting into the food world, markets are the best because there's very little overheads. Some of the markets don't even charge you as well, so you can go in with your food and sell. And also, what's great about it is you get one-on-one reactions with people. People are eating the food and then reacting to you.
And they're honest as well. They're
very honest.
If they like it.
Yeah, we've gotten, this is gross. Which is good because then you can kind of knock things off for the next market. And people love our, say, white chocolate pecan banana loaf. Now, we have more of that.
Sorry, is it the white chocolate pecan banana loaf, which is an award-winning loaf, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was rather hoping you'd bring some in today.
Damn it! Do you know, I never bring Carabini food when I'm going to talk about Carabini. Okay, next time. Do you know, I'll come to my house and I'll cook you dinner. How about that?
That's even better.
Yeah.
That's even better. That's fantastic. James, I want to talk about the time that I met you, which was a couple of years ago. We were both invited on to the News Talk Bobby Kerr business breakfast show, and I had never met you before. I heard about you though, and when I met you, you walked into the studio. You were wearing the most stunning fake fur, deep violet, purple kind of colour coat, and the interview started, and Bobby was talking to me about my media training business, and to you about the fact that you're a hugely influential social media influencer, and Carabini and all of that. And I really wanted just to crawl across the desk and touch your fake fur coat.
I think you did at one stage.
I think I did too.
Yeah.
I think I did, and I wanted to be in it. I wanted to wear it too. It was just, you just knocked me for six.
Oh, really?
And I didn't want to hear, I didn't want to talk about my business. I wanted to hear about you and your business. It was, and so did Bobby actually, because it is really extraordinary. Like you were regarded as the king of Snapchat. That's how he introduced you, and that you came on to the scene. You went on to Snapchat in 2015.
About 2015.
And how did that happen? What did you do?
Do you know what? I do sometimes I do talks in colleges and at marketing events about how I set up Carabini and how it all happened. And I would love to be one of those people that said I had a 5-year plan and I did this and that. everything in my life is an accident, is a good accident. So with Snapchat, I just went on it because all my friends were on it, and I didn't really know what to do. So I used to scare William. I used to creep up behind doors and scare him and scream his name. So I'd go, William, and he'd jump. And he was really animated when he's scared, so he was great content. I always said to him, I'd break up with you if you weren't such great content. Brilliant content. So I remember it was about, say, a Sunday when I first went on Snapchat. By the following Sunday, I had 10,000 followers.
What?
It was like the speed of light.
And this was you frightening William?
Just me scaring William. That's all. That's where it all began. And people used to, you know, high-profile people Pippa O'Connor, Suzanne Jackson, all these kind of people with huge followings found out about me and put it on their stories saying, you need to follow this guy. He scares his boyfriend. It's really funny. And then it was a snowball. Just kept going. And then I'd move on to Instagram. I moved on to Facebook. I'd download the videos, share them on Facebook. Then they were shared further. So it was really accidental but really organic. And then we were also cooking at home. So that's where the whole food thing came in as well, and people were really curious as to what we were cooking, and they'd ask us to reshare a recipe or sell at a market. So that's how that all happened. But it's
amazing because when I told people that I'm going to be meeting you today, the number of people that I spoke to, they all said, I said, what do you think of James and why do you think he's so successful? Nearly all of them said authentic. That you're real, that you know, and television, I mean, this is still, okay, television is it's the traditional media, we're talking about the internet here, and we're talking about social media, but it is terribly revealing if you're on camera in any way. A raised eyebrow, you know, you can read volumes, and you were just so instantly, you seemed authentic, it was likeable, you were funny. And my daughter said, Mum, he's just so bubbly, he makes me feel happy. And I think maybe that's the reason. Is this the feedback you're generally getting?
Sometimes maybe too real. Like I never shy away from filming stuff. I would film myself when I'm ill. I'd film myself when I'm hungover. I don't film myself when I'm really bursting with happiness all the time. I kind of show everything. And I think that's why you know, people like me are kind of having a moment, because I share everything, and people are quite nosy, especially Irish people. So if you have someone like me who's sharing their whole life, people are tuning in because it's like reality TV.
And it means that's why they're saying authentic then, because if it was all, you know, happy-go-lucky and desperately boppy and fun and games, that isn't real life, really, is it? Yeah, real life is everything.
You share the ups and the downs, and I'm very much for that. So it just all took off in a huge direction.
You worked in PR for a number of years. Was that helpful when you discovered that you actually were getting all of these followers? Did that help you in terms of developing your brand?
100%.
Your big brand,
PR at its very essence is storytelling. You're telling stories on behalf of your clients. And so I had that kind of 6 years behind me, and I'm now telling my story. I'm telling the story of Currabini. And as well with media and stuff like that, when I was doing interviews for a book that came out, all that sort of stuff, all that PR training really helped. I always tell people who are unsure of what they want to do in life to do PR communications, because you get a ground for a lot of different things. And I've seen people who work in PR go into law. My friend Anne did a law course. Other people go into film and TV. So there's loads you can do from communications and PR.
Totally. I mean, you're in TV now as well. And you know, it struck me today when I was coming in to see you, James, that there was a time with traditional television and radio that if you wanted a gig as a TV presenter, you had to wait until somebody left the job, was offered something else, or was sacked or died. And you know,
kill them.
Or you kill them. You kill them. And nowadays you'd film it.
Look!
With mood music, the whole lot. On Instagram, on everything. But you literally had to. I mean, there's so few the same faces all the time, you know, on radio and television. So what you did was brilliant, because you created your own media, the new media, and ironically, you have become a television presenter, which is just fantastic.
Mad. But that's what I love about social media. And social media gets a bad rap. It does. You know, it's blamed for a lot of things. It's blamed for young people being depressed, all this sort of stuff. But it's also an amazing thing because the whole world has opened up now. We know what's going on in loads of different countries because news travels so fast. I think young people's minds are broadening because of social media. We're being exposed to loads of different opinions and stuff that we wouldn't. Maybe they're not ours, but we can respect other people's opinions, and I think that's down to social media and the sharing aspect of it. But like I said, it's opened up a world of opportunities for me. I landed a gig on Ireland's Got More Talent. I present that now. It got me a lot of followers that led to my Caribbean cookbook. So it's an exciting time to be involved with this sort of thing because it can go anywhere.
It's the stuff that you're great at as well.
Yeah.
You're full of fun, and I think that's another reason that people love you, that you're fun, you know, and you can have a laugh. In fact, I remember I joined Instagram because of you, James.
Did you?
The day of the Bobby Kerr interview, you'd said everyone needs to be on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I joined Instagram, and that night The Devil Wears Prada was showing on RTE, and I was watching it. And I was looking at the boyfriend, the chef, being a bit of a SH1T.
I hate the chef. Isn't he horrible to her?
But you said that on Instagram.
Did I?
I was looking at
that's
you.
So funny.
And you said, he is such a SH1T. Why doesn't he support her? And I thought, I feel the same.
Thank you. I don't think they meant for that character to be hated, but he's dragging her back.
Absolutely. And jealous.
Very jealous.
He should have been thrilled for her. And all the free gear and stuff she was getting.
Yeah.
For God's sake.
Thank you for this. And even her friends weren't very supportive either. And she was giving them gifts and everything.
She was giving bags
They were
worth
jealous.
thousands of dollars. And she, God knows, she looked better when she was with Meryl Streep.
Yeah. She got her Chanel makeover.
she looked a lot better. But, you know, there is a lot of the societal pressures to strive for perfection, and because of that, and all the narcissism that goes along with that, do you think that the social media, it can be very bad for young people? And it can lead to chronic kind of, you know, lack of self-esteem.
Yeah.
So what do you say about that?
Well, I think, you know, another positive about social media is that it gives everyone an equal voice. And everyone has the opportunity to broadcast to people. Whereas maybe 20 years ago it was reserved for newspaper columnists, people on TV. The average person didn't really have access to broadcast how they felt and what they feel. So that's what's great about it. Yes, of course, there's negative things, and people are exposed to rose-tinted versions of people's lives, and they don't always see the real and the bad. But what I'd say to that is, I think people like me who have platforms have a responsibility to show that it's not all roses in the garden, that not everything is perfect. And then what I'd say to people, maybe, you know, kids that are being negatively affected by this, I think it's up to parents as well to raise headstrong children. You certainly have. I mean, your kids are fab. I've spoken to your daughter. They're obviously, you know...
Oh, she's headstrong, all right.
She is. She has you know, a good head on her. And you can spot what's real and what's not. And, you know, social media is just like the new hot platform at the moment. But if you rewind, you know, 10 years ago, magazines were there. People were exposed to the perfect person on a magazine cover. Before that, you had TV. You know, there's all those mediums are still relevant, but I'm just saying, you know, kids are looking at their phones now and they're absorbing stuff. But years ago, people were absorbing people through theatre, through TV, through magazines. So I think it's all about just knowing what's real and what's not.
I think I heard you giving very good advice that when you put something out there and then there's all these posts and stuff that comes with the territory, you just wait until you're confident enough to read through that stuff.
Yes.
You know, and just be brave and say, I'm actually not going to look at that today. I care about what my friends say. This is what you've said. I'm quoting you everywhere, James.
Well,
and, you know,
I remember when I first started to get a following and people first started to talk about me, and there was maybe a couple of articles that went up online, and I'd always avoid the comment sections. I'd never read them. And I had friends at the time who were excited to see me in the news or whatever, so they'd send me screen grabs of what people were saying saying, sometimes negative. And I remember at the start saying, please don't send me what people are talking about me, good or bad, because that will affect me. Now, fast forward 3 years down the line, I could read good and bad. It's all about just training yourself.
And it doesn't bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me at all.
It is amazing, though, that somebody who would be far older than you and more mature, well, not you're probably more mature in a lot of other ways, but I was on the Late Late Show a number of years ago with the children. They were all performing stuff. And I remember being very hurt by a comment, and I decided not to take any notice from that point on, where somebody had said, oh, I remember her on the television years ago, the magic has gone.
Oh my God.
And I remember feeling
that's really
distraught about that.
Yeah.
But as you say, the years go by, and then you just put that in its place.
Yeah.
That's somebody's view. I feel I still have a bit of magic.
You do. You're fab on magical. Look at your magical coat.
Well, I knew you were coming to. I wore glitter. I haven't worn glitter since Christmas.
You're magical.
I had to wear it today because you were just so glamorous and incredibly.
Well, do you know what I always say as well? If I'm doing talks in schools and people say, "How do you deal with negative comments and stuff?" And I always say, no matter what walk of life you're in, you get 90% positivity generally from people around you. You get the 10%, be it a horrible boss, a mean teacher, and not a nice friend. That's usually only 10% of what you get. You get 90% positivity, but we tend to always concentrate on the one bad thing that happens. What about all the amazing stuff that's happening? So I always say that's where you need to tunnel your light.
And we're great in a crisis. Irish people are great in a crisis. If something is going wrong in your life, you put that. They're all over you, and loads of advice. And are you okay? And we're here for you, and all of that kind of thing. I wanted to ask you. I think you were 13 when you came out and told everybody that you were gay, or did you tell everyone? Was it just your family?
I just told my family at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you realise you were gay, first of all?
Do you know what? People often ask me that, and I say, when did you realise you were straight? And they say, I don't know, when I first started to be attracted to people.
I think I would have been about 7 when I realised I was straight.
Do you know what?
I fancied some guy. Sorry, Frank is here listening to us.
Who?
a young fella in a playground.
Oh,
he was gorgeous. He was about 8, and I just felt very attracted to him.
Really?
I couldn't help it.
Where is he now?
Oh, he's in England. I was born in England.
Okay.
Yeah, no, haven't kept in touch. Although there's always social media.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like that, it was when I first started to be attracted to humans, I was attracted to male humans. Yeah. So it's not, I never was straight, for want of a better phrase. I just always knew. Yeah. And then I remember when I first went to secondary school, the word gay was used as a negative. Yes. So if you got loads of homework, that's so gay. Yes. If someone had a bad lunch, that lunch is so gay. Yeah. So this was rained on me all day. So obviously I felt like I was negative. I was bad. Right. I hated myself. Yeah. Oh, I was isolated. I was bullied because I was quite obviously a little gayling, and people knew I was. So I was completely isolated for years. And then I decided, do you know what? I'm just going to come out. So I told my parents. My mum was like, we knew.
Did you?
There's no hiding. They all knew. Yeah, and then I think once I started to own myself, it meant no one else owned me and no one had anything on me. Yes. And I remember I went to boarding school then after a while because the first school got a bit tough. Yeah. And I remember some guy in the dorm was like, are you gay? And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, all right, okay, and started unpacking his bag. So it's once you own yourself.
Absolutely. No one can do anything. And actually young people can be the most accepting of all. Yeah. Well, you're right. Once you own it, and once you come out of it.
That's the thing.
But so that was 13. I want to ask you a question. I ask most people on the other side of this question. What advice would you give to your 10-year-old self?
To my 10-year-old self, do you know what I'd say? I'd say, be you quicker. Don't let it drag on. I wish I came out on the first day I went into school rather than waiting 3 years later. Okay. Because I remember once I became myself and was comfortable in my own skin, life got way easier. Yes, yeah, so I just tell my 10-year-old self to hurry up and be you. Yeah.
You met William, I think in 2013. William, your boyfriend, William, and he's the Ballymaloe expert, and you've
business partner /
business partner.
The whole thing. That's rough,
he's the guy that made you famous, really, with all those frightening videos.
And he likes to remind me that as well.
He probably has 50%. Yeah.
Yeah. Unofficially. Don't give him ideas.
But you've said, I think before, that you're the extrovert one and he's shyer.
Yeah, he is.
So do opposites attract?
It works. You need that yin and yang, and people find him kind of endearing and stuff, and me a bit annoying. So I think, and it's good. He pulls me back sometimes, and I pull him up sometimes, because when we were catering, I'd get this email saying, "Oh, we have a dinner for 60 people. Can you do it next Wednesday?" And I'm like, "Yes, we can." I'm always hungry to do stuff. Whereas William's like, "That isn't realistic. We cannot do that. We don't have." I'm like, "We can. We'll find a way." But so sometimes.
And do you find the way to do it?
I'm a real way finder.
Okay.
And I think that comes from PR as well, because it's a very you have to think on your feet sort of thing.
Yeah. It's a bit like a barrister. Do you understand this area of the law? Of course I do. No problem. Ring somebody quickly.
Yeah. How do you do this? So I think I like to reach for the stars, and then William's a bit more realistic. So it's a really important balance to have that.
Yeah, and it obviously works.
Yeah.
And with your brother John, and it's obvious that you're very close to John. We've seen interviews that the two of you have done together.
Yeah.
But he's very different from you. He went into the world of coaching MMA and very, very successful. And you're this hugely successful social influencer. When you were growing up, were you close? Did you argue a lot, or did you love each other despite the differences?
We weren't close at all.
Were you not?
No. He almost used me as a punching bag. Really, he was starting off in karate and all this, and I was forced to go to his classes, and people sit in a circle, and he'd have me in the middle showing off how to do the move, and then he'd get everyone to practice. So he's like, I'm like, he's like, how far can I bend the arm back before it breaks? No. So yeah, growing up when he was just teaching himself
you were the
MMA.
guinea pig.
I was the guinea pig. I was he battered me around the house, like. So I kind of didn't like him.
Does this mean that you're an expert in this area as well?
I suppose I was amazing at mixed martial arts, like really good at it. I could have been the Connor if I stuck with it. If
he had, and he trained you, and he trained Connor on what could have been. Having said that, I'm glad you're not.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're not, because we wouldn't want to see anything happening to you.
Yeah, we to be honest, and I'd say this to him as well, we didn't have a nice relationship when we were growing up. We were just very different people, and then we only really, I'm 29 now, we only really got close when I was about 25, 26. But since over the past few years, we're like literally like this. He rings me, I ring him if we've ever any issues. We
it's
give
often
each
the
other
way,
advice.
Though. Yeah, it's often the way, isn't it?
I think even with my parents, I only really got on with them in my early 20s. When I think it's when I matured, and I could get on with everyone.
I can't remember the saying, but it's something like when you're a teenager, your parents are so incredibly immature. But when I turned 21, I was amazed at how quickly they matured over the last few years.
Yeah,
is it a
that's
bit like
a great saying. That's what
it's not quite that. It's much more succinct and better than that, but you get the gist of it. Yeah. So you're with William now. Your parents, you see them a lot, and your family. You have a sister as well.
I have a sister. Yeah, she calls herself the Rob Kardashian. And me and John are Kim Kardashian. She's the lesser known Kavanagh.
I actually don't know who Rob Kardashian is.
There you go. Do you know who Kim is?
I know Kim.
Do you know Kendall?
Chloe,
Kylie?
Courtney even.
Yeah.
Kendall.
Kendall Jenner.
Is that the guy?
No, that's Caitlyn.
And the beautiful young girl is?
Who?
Kylie, not Kylie.
Kylie and Kendall.
Yeah, she's the youngest.
I cannot remember.
I don't know who Rob is.
Rob is the brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But do you know that their father, I can't remember his first name either. This is age, obviously, in my case.
But
he was a
Bruce?
Kardashian. He was the guy that was the lawyer in the O.J. Simpson case.
Yes. His name was Rob Kardashian as well.
Rob.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Bob. Yeah. Robert. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So when I was kind of maturing, this is the guy that we watched endlessly in the O.J. Simpson case. That was a huge. You're talking about communications earlier, and you're talking about theatre, and the courtrooms were often places for theatre as well, and for entertainment. But that was at one stage the most gripping drama. The O.J. Simpson case, and he was a very important part of it. We know how that ended, and it's amazing to think of the absolute celebrity that this family have got.
Huge.
They really are.
Yeah,
they're huge.
Say Kris Jenner's the mum in the family, the matriarch, and say the devil works hard, but Kris Jenner works harder.
Oh.
That's true.
You don't get this by sitting on your laurels, that's for sure.
No.
But I saw you with somebody who is also a very hard-working woman. That's Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, that was. I think I went over to where was it on? Arizona.
Was it?
Yeah, and I only found out I was going maybe 24 hours beforehand. And I went over to present for Expose and do an interview and with some of the fans, and then they said, "Do you want to meet her?" I said, "Yeah." So I went in, and it was her first concert as well that she'd had in years. So she was really eager and really bubbly, and she was such a lovely person.
Such a lovely photograph. And you're wearing snakeskin trousers.
I'm wearing snakeskin pants, yeah, because her tour was all about snakes.
And you said we speak parcel.
Parcel tongue.
This is from Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, yeah. We spoke parcel tongue.
You come up with the right captions as well. They're brilliant.
I'm good
Absolutely
at captions.
Brilliant.
I give myself that.
So listen, what is next for you? I mean, social influencer. You moved on to Instagram more so than Snapchat now.
Yeah.
You've got your business. You're absolutely creating a storm with your TV presenting. You're doing so well. You say you didn't have a plan before. Is there a plan now of sorts?
Yes. So I'm actually off to Ballymaloe myself to do the 3-month cookery course. I'm going down at the end of April, and I'm staying till the end of July. So I'm actually so excited for that, because it's in the middle of nowhere in Cork, and it's, you know, you stay in a cottage, and it's very holistic. You go out and milk the cows, you pick the vegetables, and then you cook all day with Dorina and Rachel Allen. So it's I'm just really looking forward to that. And then when I come back, we're hoping to open up the cafe. That's the next step.
Where is the cafe going to be?
Dublin? Not sure exactly where. We'll look for premises when I come back in the summer.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Will
you come?
I would. Oh, look, and I want to try the pecan, and I want to try everything. Good. I saw ham and all sorts of stuff in you. I looked at your cookbook. I feel like a stalker, James. I know everything about you.
Good. Now your son does as well.
My son does as well. My son was dying to meet you today, and he will. And my daughter. You've met my daughter, as you said.
Yeah.
They all want to meet you. But okay, so in terms of. When you had all of these followers, you know, what was brilliant was that you saw a way of making a living out of it as well and monetizing it. So how does one, I know, you know, not everybody can be authentic and likable, which is what you have, as well as very creative and very good at what you do, all of your talents, you're good at all of those. But how would one go about if one had a huge following first? First of all, how does one get a good following, and how do you monetize it then? Yeah,
so again, going back to schools, I tend to go and speak in schools, and a lot of the kids come up and say, I want your job. How do you get your job? And like my doing it was accidental. So I don't think you can kind of tell someone how to get a following. It's by being, if they're 100% themselves and are 100% honest about their own interests and stuff, people might pay attention. But I don't think there's like, here, you do X, Y, and Z, and then you get 100,000 followers. Right. You know, it's about being as you can be.
You got 10,000 followers in a week.
In a week. Actually scare your boyfriend or girlfriend. That's how you do it. That's the answer.
Make sure they have a good heart first of all.
Yeah, a good strong heart. But I think if you want to be in the game where you want loads of followers, just find a niche or find out yourself what you're interested in, and then don't be afraid of the camera, and don't try and, sometimes people try and put on a persona so they're camera ready. Be you. Be as you as you can, even if that means you're a bit tired some days and a bit down. Be you all the time, and then people will catch on. Monetization, I guess brands and stuff get in touch with people who have X amount of followers. So once you start building up a big amount of followers, usually brands come to you. Like they'd approach a magazine or a newspaper to put an ad in there. It's the exact same with this. I always explain to people, it's like, you know, if you're watching the Late Late Show or any program on TV, there's ads in the middle. It's the exact same as me. I have X amount of people that tune into me every day, like a program. Now and again, I slot an ad in. So that's kind of how it works.
And I suppose the thing as well is that there might be something that you use every day that you like, and you might feel, for instance, if it's a particular, I don't know, some clothing or it's an ingredient that you use.
I'm mad about rose water at the moment.
Rose water. Oh,
yeah, for my face. Yeah, it's really good for the skin.
So if you came across a product like that, you might yourself make approaches and say, look, I really like this product. I really believe in it. And if you think we could work together.
That's one way to do it.
That's one way of doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're in the lucky position of they're coming to you all the time.
For the moment, it's good.
It's great.
Make hay while the sun shines.
Totally and utterly. You make hay while the sun shines. So, James, it's really been lovely seeing you today.
You too.
I really enjoyed. I was dying to see you again because of the first time.
It's not the last.
It's not. Will you invite us to dinner first of all?
Yes, that's happening.
I want to know why you have such a fascination for candelabra.
So I hate overhead lights. Always have. I always had really dim lighting.
Yeah.
And then I discovered candles. And the light from candles is just, it's golden. I hate white light.
Yes.
So I just start collecting candelabras, candle holders. And my house is like, in the night it looks like a medieval castle. I love the idea of going by candles and they're flickering against the wall.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so I go around, and it's actually kind of therapeutic. I go around at night lighting all my candles, and then I have a candle putter outer, you know, the thing on top of the candle.
Yes.
So I love the whole ceremony about lighting candles and putting them all out. And of course, I really love the golden light from the candles.
And well, it's certainly very flattering light. And
it is.
I will very much enjoy being in your house, having dinner in candlelight.
Yeah, you just have to remember to blow them out.
That's true.
Key.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and speaking of food and seeing all these beautiful recipes in your award-winning cookbook as well, you decided to become vegan recently, or is it recent?
No.
Oh, did you not?
I eat everything.
Okay, you know the son that did the research? Okay, he's fired, James.
You're fired.
Frankie, you're fired.
No, I don't know, maybe he picked up my housemate Adele is vegan, but I'm not.
Who's vegan?
My housemate Adele is.
Oh,
so maybe he got his wires crossed, but I am not vegan. I love cream and cheese way too much.
Oh, I like you so much more now. And I was thinking of you down in Ballymaloe, if you're vegan, and they do nothing but butter and milk and cheese and cream.
You couldn't be. You could be vegan down in Ballymaloe, but you couldn't eat a thing.
And Nigella Lawson, of course, she's always putting her finger in the cream.
Yes, I know. I'm not vegan. No.
What do you think of vegans, as we're on the subject?
Like, each to their own.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think vegans are a blessing to the world because while I eat meat and everything else, I think we do need to reduce the amount we eat, and we need to look for better producers. We need to not eat battery pack hens. We need to, look at where our meat is from and that kind of thing. So I think, if anything, vegans are taking a hit for us. I think it's really unfair, the hammering vegans get. I think it's really mean. Like, if you look at why they make their choices, it's usually out of kindness. They don't want to harm animals. They care about the environment. How could you hate people like that? I think people are really mean about vegans.
And do you have animals at home?
I have a Sphinx cat, a naked cat. Yeah.
A Sphinx naked cat. Is that a cat with no fur?
No fur. She's a furless cat. Do you ever watch Friends?
Yes.
Do you remember the episode where Rachel gets a Sphinx cat?
No.
It's like a white naked cat. And it hisses
like a
at
bald
everyone.
kind of.
It's a bald cat.
Okay.
So I became obsessed with Sphinx cats ever since that episode, and I decided, right, I'm going to get a Sphinx cat, and her name is Princess Diana.
Princess Diana. Now, I knew I wanted to talk about Princess Diana because I saw you in your tutorial where you're making tea.
Yes.
And I will never again not scold the mug before.
It's key.
Listen, I looked at it this morning. I thought, and I drink tea by the oceans.
Yeah.
But what struck me about your tutorial was you were wearing a sweatshirt with Princess Diana on.
Yes, I was.
So
yeah.
were you an admirer? Were you?
Yeah. So my uncle, my dad's brother, was married to this woman called Anne, who was Harry and William's nanny. Back in the 80s and 90s. So Eddie used to come home to Ireland with letters and stuff from Princess Diana or the Queen, and my granny was a big admirer of the Queen. So I just became interested in the royal family that way. I'm not like, worship the royal family, but I like Princess Diana. I think she's fab.
She was special. I mean, the whole world stood still and stopped and grieved, I think, when she died. Yeah. You would have been a very young child.
I remember it. I remember waking up and going into my mum's room, and she was crying, and I'd never seen her cry before. It's so weird that this woman, who no one ever met, had this huge effect on people. I'm actually more fascinated by her as a cultural moment than the actual the effect
absolutely
she had
cultural.
Was,
was, and candles. your love of candles.
Candles in the wind.
The candles, though, that were... People came with candles, with flowers.
Kensington Palace had a mile long or something of flowers.
And men breaking down, crying everywhere.
I don't think we'll ever see that again, that reaction from a death.
It was really extraordinary, and I remember it very well. It's a bit like John F. Kennedy. When John F. Kennedy died, people who were around at the time knew exactly where they were when that happened.
9/11 is another one.
That was another one.
Like moments.
These are moments, milestones in your life. When Diana died, we had twins who were... Frankie, the researcher.
Yeah.
They were about...
Ex-researcher.
Ex-researcher. Right, James has said, you're ex. Frankie and Quincy were about, they were only a few months old, and we got a break.
Yeah.
Frank's parents came over to the house and they took over for the weekend. And so Frank and I went to a nice hotel, and Frank woke me up 6 o'clock that morning and said, Dodie's dead.
Oh my
and when he said Dodie's dead, I knew instantly who that was, because I was such a fan of Diana.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my God, that's awful. And I went back to sleep. Then he shook me later and said, Diana has died. And that was our weekend, the precious weekend. It was spent with me sitting in a chair in front of the television in this hotel room, glued.
Madness,
and then we had the same, a sister babysat the following weekend, and again I sat in front of the television glued for the funeral. It was horrific.
Everyone felt the exact same sadness.
How did it happen?
I know. She's such a loss, I think, to the world.
But so beautiful too.
Yeah,
so beautiful.
Absolutely stunning.
Could you imagine her now? I mean, talk about social influencer, and there was no social media then.
Influencer.
But my goodness, I mean, if she had been around in the time.
I also think, imagine all the good she would have done if she hadn't. Like, she ended landmines. Which is massive.
But she did a lot of good things that we only heard about after she died.
Yeah.
You know, helping homeless people, and I think every Christmas Day, herself and the boys went to various charities and shelters.
And she did that away from cameras as well. You know, so people often accuse her of courting the media and stuff.
No, the person who did that. She was amazing. I mean, she did so much on camera, but she did so much behind the cameras too. But George Michael similarly.
Yes, another amazing person.
He was just incredible. And I think when he worked in homeless shelters, I think it was like a contract where nobody was allowed to say that he was involved in this. He was just an amazing man.
And another thing she did was end the stigma around HIV as well when she shook that guy's hand.
That was probably the single most important
It was, for
thing
sure.
she did.
Yeah. Just like completely ended, like imagine having that power to like for good,
and to have children as well who've gone on to do something similar.
They're such fab kids. Like, you can tell they are.
Who do you like better, William or Harry?
I think Harry. He looks like he'd be more crack.
Yeah, he does.
A bit bolder. You'd have a lot of fun with him, I'd say.
And are you with Meghan, or Team Meghan, or Team?
Team Kate.
Kate.
You know what? I'm team both. They bring something both to the table.
They're both beautiful, aren't they?
Stunning people. Yeah. And I mean, they both do stuff for the good. How can you dislike either?
And it must be difficult, you know, when you're that famous and you're in a fishbowl the whole time. You know, to keep going and not to have an off day.
Yeah.
You just can't be off. I mean, in terms of yourself as well, like. It's not a persona that you have. Most people on camera, they're presenting or whatever.
Yeah.
There is a persona.
Yeah.
You are authentically yourself, but you are bubbly and all of that. Is there a pressure, James, if you're out having a quiet night out with William or your family, that you have to, because people recognise you, that you have to kind of live up to the do you know what? On-camera things? Sometimes
I fear that I haven't. Someone will meet me, take a photo with me, have a chat, and then they go. And I'm thinking afterwards, did I give them what they wanted? I'm always second guessing. I don't know if I delivered for them.
Yes.
But I hope I did, and I hope I do. And I always love when people come up and chat to me, and everyone has always been so kind and lovely. But yeah, sometimes I do doubt myself, and I'm like, am I the person they think I am? But I don't have two different sides to me. I am the same person all the time.
You are. And this is called The Other Side, this podcast.
Yeah.
But really, the other side is, it's the same side. And speaking of sides, I know that this is your... Well, I think both of your sides are beautiful, but this is my good side.
Yeah, so if I look gross during this, it's because my left side, and I gave it to...
You were very kind. Nice, kind is the word I think of with you. But I'm going to do this for the last 1 minute. We're going to swap. You're going to sit here, I'm going to sit there.
Okay.
And let's see
do it.
If our other sides are as good.
Yeah, well, this is a good test, actually. Yeah.
Now, you see, I feel at a disadvantage straight away because I know this isn't my good.
Beautiful now.
No, you see, oh look, but you are anyway. Yeah. So, do you want to ask me anything?
Yeah. So you're a barrister.
I am.
How long have you been a barrister for?
21 years.
21 years.
It's ridiculous.
What's been the most exciting case you fought or worked on?
I worked in a case, I can't pinpoint, can't really talk about, but I can't pinpoint this, but it was a case against a monkey.
What?
It was a monkey that bit a little girl.
And they wanted to sue the monkey, or obviously the zoo?
Well, we tried to find the monkey. It was impossible to actually detect the actual monkey.
Okay, I was not expecting this. This is amazing.
But let's put it this: the little girl won.
Yeah.
And the monkey was happy too. It wasn't a good time for the monkey.
I'm imagining the monkey in the what's he called, the box being cross-examined or whatever.
Yeah, no.
If I ever get into trouble, will you be my barrister?
You have my number.
Yeah.
Anytime, anywhere. If you feed me,
I'll feed you.
If you
and
feed
protect
me, I will protect you to the nth degree.
Thank you.
All you have to do is bring that pecan white chocolate and
Done.
banana loaf.
Yeah. I'd say you're the cheapest barrister in Ireland.
Listen, for you, I'll be nothing. Absolutely. As long as you bring the cake.
Yes.
Okay. James, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.